Hello everyone, I'm Saba and I welcome you all to this 1 week international e-workshop on the introduction of geospatial technology. So today's lecture topic is process of GIS, how to input geospatial data in GIS. So learning objectives includes what is a geospatial data, data acquisition, digitization for vector data input, raster data input, advanced technologies for primary data acquisition, how to convert geospatial data from one format to another format. So let's begin our lecture. So as discussed, location plays a significant role in geography and geographic information system, that is to say GIS. So GIS, geospatial data, is also known as spatial data. Geospatial data is used to describe data that represent features or objects on the Earth's surface, whether it's man-made or natural. If it has to do with a specific location on the globe, it's geospatial. Means any data having a spatial location is the geospatial data. So the concept of spatial data and their associated attribute data have been already discussed in the previous lectures. So this lecture, the process of creation of GIS, we include the geospatial data, input of geospatial data, etc. So the creation of GIS is neither always a linear process nor a single process, which can be applied for all cases. However, in this lecture, we'll include the common methodologies adopted for the creation of a GIS, starting from the data capture to organizing the data for a geospatial analysis. So the GIS technology is based on digital information, for which there are a number of data collection methods involved. Data capture is the operation of encoding data for the inclusion into a digital database. So the creation of accurate database is a very important part of GIS. Whatever data we are inputting, will get the result accordingly. So as data acquisition or data input of geospatial data in digital format is most expensive, about 80% of the total cost of GIS project is the cost of geospatial data, and the procedure are time consuming in GIS. The data sources for data acquisition should be carefully selected for specific purposes. So the major data formats for GIS are the analog maps containing topography, land use, soil, geology, administrative boundaries, agroclimatic regions maps. So these all maps forms the major data sources for GIS. Then the aerial photographs, we have already discussed the aerial photographs. Then a major source for GIS is the satellite images, which gives us the real images of the Earth surface. Then many reports like agriculture, for industry, economy, population, like the census data, these all contains the major data sources for GIS. So the major data sources of GIS, as discussed, is the conventional analog map sources, topographic maps or the topographical maps with contours and their terrain features, and thematic maps with respect to defined object classes are digitized by digitizers manually or by scanners semi-automatically to input the to input into the GIS. Then the aerial photographs, analytical or digital photogrammetry is rather expensive, but the best method for updating. Then the satellite remote sensing. Satellite images or data are available for land use classification, digital elevation model, that is DEM, and updating highway networks or the road networks, etc. Fourth one is the ground survey with GPS, that is Global Positioning System. Total station together with GPS will modernize the ground survey, and it also forms a major source of data to GIS. Then many reports and publications like the socioeconomic data are usually listed in the reports of statistics and census with respect to the administration units. Then the existing digital map sources are also our data sources of GIS. So the power of a GIS comes from the ability to relate different information in a spatial context. And to reach a conclusion with about this relationship, most of the information we have about our world contains a location reference, placing that information at some point on the globe. So a GIS which can use information from many different sources in many different forms. So as you see, all these informations are in different formats, but all these formats are compatible with the GIS. So compare data acquisition methods, how they are being input into the GIS. Analog maps, they can be manually digitized, or they can be digitized with the help of scanning, semi-automatic scanning. Then the equipments used are the digitizers, or the and the second for semi-automatic scanning, they are the scanners. So accuracy, manual digitizing is plus minus 0.1 millimeter on the map, and same is the help of the scanners, also 0.1 millimeter on the map. But manual digitizing is cheap, whereas semi-automatic scanning is, the cost of semi-automatic scanning is high. Then the aerial photos, the method of acquisition is analytical photogrammetry. Equipments used are the analog stereo plotters. Accuracy is plus minus 10 centimeters and the cost is high. Whereas digital photogrammetry, the equipment used are digital photographic workstations. Accuracy is the same as aerial photogrammetry, that is plus minus 10 centimeter, but the cost is very high. Then the satellite images method is visual interpretation. We have already discussed the elements of visual interpretation in the last lecture. Equipments used are the image zoom scope. Accuracy ranges between plus minus 30 to 50 meters, but the cost is cheap. Then the digital image processing equipments used are the image processing systems. Accuracy is good in comparative to visual interpretation, that is 10 to 30 meters plus minus, but the cost is high in comparative to visual interpretation. Then the ground surveys, field measurements method is field measurements. Equipments used are global positioning system or the total stations. Nowadays DGPS are also used. Accuracy is plus minus 1 centimeters, but the cost is very high. Then reports, keyboard entry, keyboard or PC is used, and the cost is very cheap. So let's see the digitizers for vector data input, the digitizing operation. Step 1 is the affix of map to a digitizing table. Step 2, add control points or ticks at 4 corners. Step 3 includes digitize map content according to the map layers. And step 4 includes editing errors and clean the data set steps. And step 5 includes convert from a digitizer coordinates to map coordinates to store in a spatial database. So tablet digitizers with a free cursor connected with a personal computers are the most common device for digitizing spatial features with the planimetric coordinates from analog maps. Then major problems of map digitizing. The map will stretch or shrink day by day, which makes the new digitized point slightly off from the previous point. So the map itself has errors, and the discrepancies across neighboring map sheets will produce disconnectivity. So there may be gaps between 2 points, or overshoot problem are there, then the spikes, then the duplicacies are there, disconnections and measuring errors. So these are the typical errors that are included in the map during the map digitization. So selecting a digitizing technique is depend upon the purpose and upon the cost also. So manual digitizing is done on screen or tablet, then semi-automatic digitizing and the automatic digitizing. So these are the 3 main techniques of digitizing. Then there are scanners for raster data input. Scanners are used to convert from analog maps or photographs to digital image data in raster format. So we have basically 4 types of scanners. First one is the mechanical scanner. It is called drum scanner since a map or an image placed on a drum is digitized mechanically with rotation of the drum and shift of the sensor. It is accurate but slow. Then the video camera. Video camera with the CRT, that is cathode ray tube, is often used to digitize a small part of map of film. This is not very accurate, but it is cheap. Then the CCD cameras. CCD camera instead of video camera will be also convenient to acquire digital image data. It is more stable and accurate than video camera. Then CCD scanners. There are flatbed type or the roll feed type scanners with linear CCD, that is charge coupled device, is now commonly used to digitize analog maps in raster format, either in monotone or color tone. It is accurate but expensive. So that selection of scanner is also depend upon the want for the accuracy, how much accuracy you want and how much money you can spend on the scanning technique. So there are major types of scanners. The mechanical scanners as discussed, then these are the video scanners, then the CCD cameras and the CCD scanners. So the comparison of scanners, let's compare them. Mechanical scanners, the resolution is very high. between 25 to 100 meters. Then the accuracy is very high, but as we have the high resolution data and the accuracy is also high, so the cost is also high. Then the video camera, the resolution is low, that's it, 500 into 500 pixels, accuracy is also low, and so the cost is also cheap. Then the CCD camera resolution is medium, 500 to 4000, accuracy is medium, and it is cheap for low resolution, but for the high resolution it is high. Then the CCD scanner, that is charge coupled device scanners, our resolution is very high, 300 to 600 DPI. DPI is the dot per inch, and accuracy is high, so the cost is also high. So input and output of the scanning process. Original document in black with scanner resolution. This is the scanner resolution. This small grids represent the scanner resolution. That is the represented in green. After scanning it, it is in black and white image. So this is the 8-bit data having 256 values, 0 representing the black and 255 representing the white tone. So digital mapping by aerial photography. Analytical photogrammetry, though computer systems are used for aerial triangulation, measuring map data, editing and output with pen plotter, a stereo pair of analog films are set up in a stereo plotter, and the operator will manually read terrain features through stereo photogrammetric plotter called analytical plotter. Then the digital photogrammetry. In digital photogrammetry, aerial photographs are converted into digital image data with high resolution, that is to say 5 to 25 millimeter, and digital elevation model is automatically generated with stereo matching using digital photogrammetric workstation. But the process of digital photogrammetry is much higher than analytical photogrammetry. So this is the procedure of aerial photogrammetry. We have already discussed in aerial photograph lecture that aerial photographs are taken with the help of aircrafts and airplanes. Then we have the stereo plotting, and the editing is done with the help of computers, and then we will get the output. So remote sensing with satellite imagery. Satellite remote sensing is a modern technology to obtain digital image data of the terrain surface in the electromagnetic region of visible, infrared and microwave region. So the multispectral bands include visible near infrared or the thermal infrared are most commonly used for the production of which type of maps? Land use maps, soil map, geological map, agricultural map, forest map, etc. at a scale of around 50,000 to 250,000. There are a lot of Earth observation satellites, for example, is also there, like Landsat, Spot, IRIS, RadarSat. RadarSat is RadarSat works in microwave region. So these are all visible, are available for the GIS input. So the microwave region is images that we take in microwave region are comparatively costlier than the visible or infrared images. But microwave or the active remote sensing is used when there are clouds, like in flood mapping we use the microwave, because when there is flood, there flood is basically caused due to heavy rainfall, and when there is rain there are clouds, so the visible or infrared cannot electromagnetic rays cannot go through the clouds. So there are clouds on the image, so the microwave images or the radar set images are used for this purpose. So these are the current observation satellites, Earth observation satellites. Landsat of USA, Spot of France, ERS of European, GERS-1 of Japan, IRS of India, and RadarSat of Canada. So what are the main purpose? So the resolution is 30 to 120 meters. Then spot resolution is 10 to 20 meters. ERS having a resolution of 30 meters. GERS-1 having a resolution of 18 into 24. IRS MSS India having a resolution of 23.5 meters and 5.8 meters. This is for list 3 and this is for list 4 sensors. And radar set having a resolution between 10 to 50 meters. So accordingly, the purpose of is also defined over here, like Landsat can be used in land cover, then topography, then IRS images can be used for land cover and for topography also. Then these are the proposed high resolution satellites. You can go through it. Then advanced technologies for primary data acquisition are as follows. So the following advanced technologies will be useful for future GIS, like the electronic plane surveying system. That is an integral system of total station with automated tracking function, kinematic global positioning system, and a pen computer will replace the conventional plane survey. Then mobile mapping system, different sensors such as GPS, INS, that is inertia navigation systems, more than 2 digital cameras, voice recorder, etc. are fixed on a vehicle in order to map objects in close range. We have discussed about the close range photography and the aerial photography. So mobile mapping comes under the close range. Then the laser scanning. Scanner, airborne laser scanners together with GPS and INS will measure directly the terrain relief or depth with the height accuracy of 10 centimeter up to the altitude of 1000 meters. Then the fourth one is SAR interferometer, that is synthetic aperture radar. Interferometry is a new technology to produce digital elevation model automatically by spatial interferometric process of a pair of SAR images. So these are the advanced technologies, like the total station with the automated tracking, like kinematic, GPS, and the pen computers. Then the mobile mapping system includes digital cameras, GPS, computer, and INS. Then the laser scanners surveying system containing the laser scanners and the SAR interferometry. So these are the advanced technologies for primary data acquisition. So the direct input can be done built from attribute data, that is to say GPS points, using software extensions for add to GIS database. Then conversion between raster and vector data is very useful in practical application of GIS. Rasterization refers to conversion from vector to raster data. Raster format is more convenient to produce color-coded polygon maps such as color-coded land use map, while map digitizing in vector format is more easier to trace only the boundaries. So rasterization is also useful to integrate GIS with remote sensing because remote sensing images are in raster format. Then conversion from vector to raster. So trapezoid area can be applied to convert vectorized polygon to rasterized polygon with grid cells. So this is how the conversion from vector to raster takes place. Then the vectorization. Vectorization refers to conversion from raster to vector data, which is often called raster vector conversion. So this is the original image, that is the raster image. Then thin ring with chain coding, and this will convert this into the vector data. So this is a simple vectorization algorithm. Then raster vector conversion. So this is the schematic of the raster vector conversion by which left and right polygons are identified. So, but apart from this, linking of spatial and attribute data is also very important in GIS. So when we are linking spatial and non-spatial data, we'll get another data which is having spatial information and the respective characteristics of the features and objects also. So that thank you. That's it for this lecture. So stay tuned for more lectures. Thank you.